Hello everyone, I'm K-Swope, and I have a sort of embarrassing story for you. My little sister and I, we share the same celebrity crush. That celebrity crush being Ryan Reynolds. Now, I'm of course not gay, but Ryan Reynolds, he's a legend, he's an icon, he's funny, he's a great businessman, and of course, he's a handsome devil, so how can you hate him? Now, that being said, I have decided to begin a quest. That quest is going to be to watch every Ryan Reynolds movie and review that he either stars in or has a supporting role in. Now, that being said, though, I will not be reviewing movies that Ryan Reynolds maybe appears in, only for a little bit. That's not going to be part of this big quest. For example, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
But why?
Great question, Ryan Reynolds from Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. That is because in that movie, he's only in there for like 4 minutes, and then he's just gone, and, not there long at all. So I figured I'm not going to review a whole movie that Ryan Reynolds makes just a small cameo in, that I'm not going to have any reason to talk about him with. Therefore, we're going to exclude those. That being said, though, you read the title of this video. We are going to dive right in. We're getting down and dirty with X-Men Origins Wolverine. So, all of this being said, hopefully, Ryan, if you're watching, hit me up, homie. Probably not, but if you were, hey, this is all a desperate plea to get attention from Ryan Reynolds, in case you haven't picked up on that yet. But we're going to go ahead and start things off with our review of X-Men Origins Wolverine. Here's how this is going to look like. I'm going to talk about the good things in the movie and the bad things in the movie, and then I'm going to have a conclusion, and I'm going to rate it on a scale from 1 to 10. A 1 is bad, a 10 is good. Therefore, 1 is like having a pool cue shoved up your rectum, versus 10 being Ryan Reynolds himself, because he is a gem and an icon. So, that being said, let's go ahead and dive straight into the review. Let's talk about the good things. Now, first good thing I want to say about this movie. The opening credits are beautiful. It's a montage of Wolverine and his brother. They are fighting through all these wars in history because they're very, very old, and their healing factor keeps them alive. I know I personally am a sucker for a good, stylized opening credits sequence, and so I really, really appreciated that. Something else I really, really appreciated was Act 1 Deadpool. So we get to see Wade Wilson not too far into the movie. It's just a couple minutes. There's like 1 or 2 scenes after the opening credits, and the next thing you know, boom, we are there with Ryan Reynolds and a few other mutants. We sort of get to see a glimpse of what Deadpool is going to be, what he's going to become eventually in the future, because of course this is Ryan Reynolds' first time playing the character. He is a bit watered down because, he's PG-13 rated, so definitely not the Deadpool we know and love, but you can definitely see that we have sort of like the bones that we're getting there, that we're getting molded in that direction. It's just unfortunate what happens by the end of the movie, which we're going to talk about later. But I also want to tell you about the stunts in the movie. I enjoyed the stunts. They are very kind of cool and cheesy. They're very dated from like 2007, 2008, somewhere around there, and it really shows. However, I kind of get nostalgic for stunts that look like that, because you looked at superhero movies from the 2000s. The stunts did not always look the best, and that's not even superhero movies. I can think like the old Mission Impossible movies. They were kind of in the same boat. But either way, nostalgic for it. I kind of like seeing that. It's very, very fun for me. Another thing that was fun that I like to see, the character the Blob was great, because he's not really, I don't want to say he's an obscure X-Men character, but he's definitely not a very well-known X-Men character to a lot of very casual fans. So seeing him was funny. He made for a lot of really comedic moments, specifically when Wolverine is trying to talk to him, get him information about Stryker's Island, and he says Bub, because Wolverine says that a lot, and Blob mishears that and thinks he's calling him Blob and making a fat joke out of it, and so they have to end up fighting, which is, pretty hilarious. Very funny misunderstanding. So I like that a lot. This movie, for me, I'll say this straight up, is a bit of a comfort movie. So I enjoy watching it, when I'm bored on car trips. I have it downloaded oftentimes on my phone, just watch it. Because I know we're going to get into the flaws in a minute, but I do want to say that I enjoy watching it. It gives me this kind of nostalgic feeling, because I think this is the first X-Men movie I ever watched. And so I quite enjoy it. Again, it's got some bad things, and we're going to dive into those right now. First thing being, the movie, they do that trope again where they fridge the girlfriend, which gives the main character, in this case Wolverine, of course, to have motivation to go out and, get revenge and stuff like that. And not only is it kind of like a dumb, worn-out trope, but also, like, the audience has no reason to really like this girlfriend, because she's kind of boring. She just doesn't have much personality or character. All she's there for, all that we know about her, is that she like teaches kindergarten or whatever, and that she's Logan's girlfriend. And it's like, okay, and then they kill her and he goes on his revenge spree, if you will, and that's just kind of mid. The story of this too is also pretty light. There's not a whole lot of heavy plot things here and involved, so it's really just kind of okay story-wise. I mostly like this movie because of the flair and stuff like that, being able to see characters like the Blob and the first appearance of Deadpool in live action, which again, more on later, just hold your horses. Something else I gotta say about this movie too, the editing is bad. It's just really bad, really choppy, and the cinematography doesn't help either because they just have some really weird shots from some really weird angles, and they just edit them so. All the action is really super choppy for the most part, and it just looks bad. It's almost like if you ever see those compilations, I think Honest Trailers made fun of the Catwoman movie by showing that there's like so many edits in this just like 20 seconds of the movie, and it just flip-flop, looks really bad. It's very similar to that, and so I cannot give it credit for that whatsoever because it's pretty awful. Same with the CGI. When I was watching this movie multiple times before in the past, I'd hear people complain about it, and I'm like, I don't think it's all that bad, except this time I watched it on a bigger screen, and I guess I was a little more close to the screen, and noticing it then, I was like, yeah, you know, it's definitely not as good as I remember it being, and I'm not going to defend it this time, because, yeah, it's pretty bad, honestly. So I really, on this last watch through, made a big 360-degree change on that, so, yeah, can't say much about that. But I can say a lot about our man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Reynolds, the Act 3 Deadpool. Yeah, it's awful, honestly. You make him this mutant monstrosity, and they sew his mouth shut. That's an unforgivable sin. That was pretty bad. You can find a million other YouTubers telling you why it's bad. I'm just going to tell you that I agree that it is bad. Even Ryan Reynolds made fun of it. He literally killed off that version of himself in Deadpool 2 during the credits. So that was pretty funny. But either way, yeah, terrible call for Deadpool, and it was just, I just want to say it's bad, so we're just going to leave it there. Something else that confused me is will.i.am plays a character in this movie, and will.i.am, I mean, he's the Black Eyed Peas guy, and I found it very distracting the whole time watching the movie, and I'm like, that's just will.i.am, and he's doing this almost like a southern accent. He's almost like a cowboy-esque character, and I just think the whole thing was just awkward and kind of weird, and I kept just getting distracted every time I saw him, and it just wasn't very believable for me that he was this other guy. And this was also his first big acting credit as well, so that is very unfortunate for him, sadly. But yeah, not a whole lot more I can say about that other than will.i.am was just kind of strange to see in this movie. Really threw me off. Nitpick I have, there's this fight scene between Wolverine and Sabretooth where they're duking it out in this alley, but right before it starts, Wolverine's about to get into a fight with Gambit, okay? Until he sees Sabretooth, and then his, revenge instincts kick in and they start fighting. And he kind of punches Gambit, knocking him out, or at least knocking him on the ground. And so they're duking it out, they're fighting for like a few minutes. I want to say at least 2 or 3 minutes. And then Gambit kind of shows up as a third party, and we see him running on these rooftops. And he runs and he jumps with his staff, does this cute little twisty thingy to help propel him down, and then like goes down in a boom, kinetic energy, something or other. Well, I'm thinking to myself, literally 2 minutes ago, you were lying on the ground knocked out. How the heck are you on the roof now? Especially on a roof like 2 or 3 buildings down. That makes zero sense. So that's a continuity problem, and that's pretty bad. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up for you guys. In the end, this movie, again, is a comfort movie for me. I will defend it all day. I will say that it's not as bad as people say it is, and I still believe that. However, I will say that after rewatching it this time, it definitely does not hold up as much as I initially thought, so there is some problems there. However, I'm still a little biased. Therefore, I'm going to give this movie a 6.5 out of 10 for my ranking. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap this video up. Thank you so much for watching. Again, the Ryan Reynolds Marathon, it is starting now. I'm going to have more Ryan Reynolds reviews and content out. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and make sure, hey, if you disagreed with anything I said here, leave a comment. I'd love to hear you out on that. I'd love to duke it out with you in the comments if you think the movie is hot and garbage. I love to defend what I can defend. So yeah, if you want to have some fun discourse, I will gladly engage with you down there. Also, if you have not gone ahead and followed me on Instagram, go ahead and do that. That is kswope_, and on X you can follow me at kswope_ as well. Same handle for both of them. But yeah, that'll wrap things up for me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Marijuana.